But I did want to say one thing real quick, because you were asking all these great questions to arguably our greatest living fiction writer in the United States. I mean, I said arguably, so I'm not gassing you up, you know. But it's just like it's amazing to hear that you went through Oberlin, because you know, I think about Tommy Smith and John Carlos all the time, and not just because my office has like 67 different photos and pictures of them, but I was just reading about how when Tommy Smith was destitute, when he was broke after the '68 Olympics, when nobody would hire him, it was Oberlin College that made him coach of track and field.
Yep, that's why I went there, bro. Like that's why. I mean, I got kicked out of college in Mississippi, and then I went to Jackson State, where, you know, a lot of our family went. My mother and father went with Walter. My other side of my family are Peyton, so that's our cousins on the other side. So we Jackson State through and through, and I got kicked out of Millsaps College, went to Jackson State, and then I just went up to Oberlin. And I went there because when I got kicked out for fighting these white fraternities. Oberlin was the only college that's going to accept me because of what happened. Like every other college I tried to transfer to denied me because of what happened. Oberlin was like, we'll accept you because you got in a fight with these white boys. Wow. And that was part and parcel, like Tommy Smith being there, being the first college that like black women graduate, white college really that black women graduated from, bro, being a spot on the Underground Railroad. But I love what you were saying about Prime, man. You know what I think people don't understand, but I think people are starting to slowly understand. Again, I was born on the campus of Jackson State. My parents graduated from Jackson State. I was a Jackson State commencement speaker last year. I give a lot of money to Jackson State, so I'm very tight with the college. But I don't think people understand, bro, like how good Coach Prime is at football. And I don't mean playing DB. Like I think people underestimate how good that man is at football. And I'm saying this as like someone who was highly critical of his political disposition. But I think he occupies now a space in this like fucking racist ass collegiate like universe that nobody has ever occupied, right? Like on surface, the blackest man going up against the whitest system ever. But this motherfucker is as skilled as Mayweather is at boxing, bro. Like he is headed that way. I think people think that's an overstatement, but beyond all the other shit, he knows how to put a motherfucking coaching staff together. I think he got outcoached in the SWAC championships. I mean, in the HBCU championships. We need to talk about that because I think we need to talk about the importance of the great coaches in HBCU. He got outcoached. Part of that was because he was coaching two teams this last year. He was coaching fucking Colorado and JSU, but he got outcoached. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get outplayed. They got outcoached. First year when he lost, he got outcoached. So I think the Deion shit is very complicated for those of us who have any sort of like love of blackness and black people, because we're all gonna get behind it. And you can see Deion now saying things about white power and whiteness that he never said at Jackson State. When Tate Reeves, the white governor who I went to college with, was like, I think like dragging the shit out of Jackson and trying to hold Deion up as the like as like the, you know, like the shining light. Like when we were all like, yo, Deion stepped into a fucking culture. We know great football in the SWAC. We know Jerry Rice. We know Steve McNair. You know what I'm saying? We know Walter Payton. We know Jackie Slater. He stepped into that shit. Man, I just think like we need to talk a lot about like his prowess as in football mind, but also think we can do that and laud that, and also talk about Travis Hunter, Shedeur, Savion, you know, the people he brought from Jackson State. But also just talk about, bro, like how it's weird because he's now like the crusader for Black America. He is. Because he's going up against these fucking like racist white ass people and a racist white ass system. So I don't know, fam. I'm excited to see what happens, but I just don't want us to ever forget that man is a genius at football, not just a genius at defending receivers. And I think like the anti-blackness of all our situations would lead him to Colorado, because what I saw on Saturday was like, that's why the SEC didn't want this motherfucker. Imagine that, bruh. Imagine that in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap. I mean, imagine that kind of black power, that kind of black virtuosity in the heart, in the SEC. Come on, bro. Like, so I think Deion is going to show and prove as a coach of Colorado what we'd hoped he would have shown and proved as a coach of JSU in terms of like, you know, defiance, speaking out against a system. But I also just think we need to hold him accountable for what he did. You know, I think coaching two teams, one of them is up for an undefeated season, is unconscionable.
Yeah, they hate him so much right now. The hate is flowing, and there are two things we got to see. One is all the right people are hating him. Like
right.
it's the rogues gallery of people who are trying to use sports as a platform to advance a reactionary agenda of bigotry and quasi-fascism. The people who we know, who we don't need to name check because all they want is to be name checked, so some algorithm gives them a golden toilet someday. This is some next shit. Like the worst people are hating Dion right now, and that should give us pause if our instinct is to, go after Dion for the history of
Right.
what's worth going him after him for. Like, if we're living very much in the present tense at this moment, it's like, whoa, look who's attacking Dion. And then when we ask why they're attacking Dion, I think it comes down to two reasons, and one of which is definitely going to echo what's been said. The first is, I think they loved Dion when he was bringing eyeballs to the TV screens. Oh, look, he's coaching here. Oh, he's going to Colorado to that sorry ass program. He'll get some people watching it. He's bringing excitement, but he's Neon Dion and all the rest of it. Here's Prime. They didn't realize he might be better at this than they are.
And that's what I'm saying, Dave. And why didn't they realize that? That's
because because they chose to look at the exterior instead of listening to what was coming from his interior. Absolutely. And I'm not only talking about the coaching, I watched him for years on the NFL Network.
Yep.
Always the smartest guy on set.
Always.
But always doing it like he was kind of still the guy on that Sports Illustrated cover decades ago that drove Spike Lee to fits of rage at how he was dressing and presenting himself. But as I'm sure Spike Lee would say today, as he wears his New York Knicks orange blazer, it's like you can't be judging the books by their cover all the time, because the depths of intelligence, of football intelligence he has. So that's the first reason why they can't stand him, because he does it better than they do. And it's not just about, he's not just a hype man. He's not just Flavor Flav, he's Chuck D. The second thing that they can't stand is that I think Dion has undergone a rapid fire transformation's way too strong a word, but I think it's been an eye-opener for him, the kind of backlash he's gotten at Colorado. Because at the end of the day, one might not like everything he's done to remake that team, but all he's doing is playing by the rules that everybody's playing by. He's just doing it better than they are. And they can't